We were the originals to start the buzz. And so we were the test pilots for all brands. When you become storyless, then you are no different than anyone else out there that builds a box.
Welcome back to the show, everyone. I'm Paul Gardner, and today we're diving into a part of the industry that doesn't always get the spotlight it deserves, the world of decorative plumbing and hardware, and the people who've shaped it. I'm joined by someone who's been at the center of that evolution from the very beginning. Debbie Miller is one of the founding members of the Decorative Plumbing and Hardware Association. She spent her entire career elevating what a showroom can be, what a customer experience should feel like, and how professionalism and community can push our industry forward. She's also the owner of Miller's Elegant Hardware in Boca Raton, a showroom that's become a benchmark for design, service, and business longevity. Debbie has done it all: sales, leadership, industry advocacy, and building teams that know how to take care of people. Debbie, I'm really glad you're here today. Thanks for joining me.
Oh, thank you for having me.
We just recently met. We had a great conversation about 2 weeks ago, and I didn't really realize your background. I was enthralled with our conversation around your early years with DPHA and the fact that you're one of the founders. I actually didn't know that. So I'd love to hear a little bit more about that story and sort of how that came about.
Sure. So I'm a second generation
Okay.
within the decorative plumbing and hardware industry. And my parents really supported me getting involved in the industry at a very early time in my career. So
Gotcha.
I was part of the board of directors for the DPH that was under the umbrella of the National Kitchen and Bath Organization.
Okay.
And I had other second generationers that we were going to be like, the next hoo-ha. We were going to be all of that and a bag of chips.
Gotcha.
And as we were starting to come together and wanting to have a lot of different ideas, we were restricted in the growth that the organization that we were in could have,
Gotcha.
because being part of an organization that governs so many organizations, if one organization pivots, all organizations need to pivot. There's just a lot of restrictions. So at
Gotcha. Right.
some point in time, I had a wonderful conversation with one of my colleagues about the idea of starting our own,
Right.
and what would that look like and how can we do it. And we were very fortunate that there's another member of our industry who was an attorney in his prior life.
Yeah.
So the conversation was easy. Why don't we talk to him, see what it would be like? But the running joke is that I planted the seed with my very dear colleague friend Barry.
Okay.
And then he said, "So what do you want to do next?" And I said, "Barry, listen." I said, "I'm trying to move the showroom, and I'm a little overwhelmed, and I'm about to get married. And right after that, I'd like to expand my family. And can you just do something and call me when it's done?" And that was kind of that's been the running joke like our
Gotcha.
entire adult life. But we
That's
both had such a passion, as so many others did. We both had such a
yeah.
passion at such an early age that we knew that this very small industry we were in, and it was small,
I bet.
was going to be our entire life career. So,
Wow.
best
And
decision.
how long ago was that at this
Oh
point?
my gosh, a really long time. I'm gonna say that the conversation probably began in um, 2001,
Okay.
probably
Yep.
a minute ago, maybe
Yeah.
2002.
Yeah.
But
There you go.
great memories.
Yeah. Well, I mean, you hit the nail on the head. I mean, certainly, the industry is full of very passionate people,
Yes.
very creative people. Yeah, it is actually a wonderful world. I bet so many great people. Um, I was in the kitchen business before I bought Rock Solid, and but always selling through the luxury plumbing and the kitchen and bath industry. So yeah, very great people, like really down to earth, honest people, right? For the most part, I mean, you get some bad apples, but for the most part, it's been a great ride, and I've personally thoroughly enjoyed it, and I got a long way ahead of me still as well. But well, that's great. I mean, kudos to you for taking that step because
I
um
think kudos for me for just being busy and letting somebody else do the work.
well, we all
Yeah.
have to have other who's, as we say, right?
Right, right.
Right? So exactly, but that's fantastic. So, um, and I guess since those days, I mean, we're talking now 25 years ago, basically. I can imagine that you have seen I mean, we've all seen a lot of changes, but wow, like 2008, COVID, like just all the evolution with the brands and all the things that have gone on. I mean, I can't even imagine, what you've sort of seen. So
And
in
I
your
will, I will clearly with pride say I was in the industry 20 years prior.
right.
So
Yeah, no, exactly,
so
right?
and I say that with, great joy
Yeah.
and appreciating every bump in the road and every memory that was made. But when I first came into this industry, just to give an example of what do I mean by small.
Yeah.
So let's just start with product. There were 5, 6 finishes.
Right.
There was antique brass and polished chrome and brushed chrome and oil rub bronze and just 5 or 6 finishes. So
Yeah.
take all the availability of what's out there now and bring it down to what would it mean if you only had 6 finishes to
And
choose
all
from.
and all the SKUs, I would imagine too,
Right.
right?
And so
Like,
there were a handful of manufacturers. And
right.
the manufacturers were privately owned, and there were people, there were faces
Right.
that were driving, whether they were importing and distributing or whether they were true
Yep.
brand manufacturers, there were people. So
Right.
even though we can say that we are in a people business, we truly were people doing business with people at every point of it, and
Yeah.
you felt like it really was this family, and we
Right.
still do,
Yep.
even with all the changes, we still
Yep.
do, because we get to talk about, well, we know where it started, and we knew what the original visions are,
Yeah.
and,
That makes sense.
yeah, yeah,
Yeah. I mean, but yeah, I think to that point, um, with a lot of these large brands that are out there, it is a little bit less personalized, I guess you could say. Um, it's just it's the nature of the beast a little bit. And it's funny with the starting of this particular show here, even for me, even though I'm not a big brand, I'm a small to medium brand, it's tough for me to get around to even see everybody. I mean, it's hard. Like the geographic now is so challenging.
mhm,
And that's actually where partly this came from was because how do I how do I get to spend an hour with you and actually meet you and try to build a relationship with you? That's not easy to do.
no, no.
Right? And this has been a phenom for me, this has been a gift being able to, talk to people like yourselves. It's been for me an incredible experience um and just I think a really nice genuine way to at least start a relationship.
No, I agree, and I think that there's so many streams of distribution opportunities for any manufacturer to have that they really need to look at, where do I resonate? I mean, there's a lot of,
Yeah.
whether we call them importers or whether we call them manufacturers, whatever we're gonna call them, where the
Yep.
products, come from within the US,
Yep.
there are so many different streams of distribution that you have some people that say, "You know what? I really want to be of great value to my
Right.
clients. Therefore, if I choose these other forms of distribution, the relationship part of it is not going to be there. What's
Right.
most important for my brand and what I want to bring to the market?" Because
Yeah.
those kind of decisions weren't there 40 and 50 years ago. There you could
Wasn't an
only
option.
No, you could only move product. product got branded
Yep.
through decorative plumbing and hardware showrooms. We were the originals
Yes.
to start the buzz of the brand because we were where the specifiers and decision makers shopped.
Yep.
So if a brand is unknown and they need to get it known, they needed to start with a showroom that was educated in their sales. They were knowledgeable on their product, and
Yep.
they had a stream of higher end clients that trusted them.
Yep.
And so we were the test pilots for all brands,
Right.
all brands. And as those brands grew, distribution decisions changed because now they were out there, the demand was greater. And as independent showrooms, many of us could not manage the movement
Right.
in going into commercial projects but these brands wanted to be a part of it, but everything
Yeah.
started with us.
Yeah, yeah, and it's funny, we go down the path of really only the luxury showrooms and the showrooms where there is a person selling our product. I mean, because it is all about the storytelling. That's what it's all about the story. When you get into these sort of headless, e-commerce sites, you're just buying a widget now. And so I personally didn't really want to be in the widget game. Anybody can do that. So, we're here about how do you remove all the friction in that customer journey to ensure that even though we're not dealing with your end customer, we're here to make sure that that end to end actually works. Like that's actually our job, right?
Right, right,
So I think when you go down that other path, you lose sense of it unless you're unless you're incredibly good at what you do. You go back to the early days, like with Airbnb and the founders of Airbnb going and actually knocking on doors
mhm,
and taking photographs of the spaces and dealing with the end consumer, like the hosts and actually seeing what the actual environment is and what all the problems are. Like that's what we believe in, because we know that that's what you need. You guys are sitting there dealing with hundreds now. Like to your earlier point, you had 5 or 6 colors before. You probably had 20 SKUs. It was pretty simple.
yeah,
Now you have an explosion of product
yes.
across every single product in your offering. And like, where do you start?
Yeah,
Like
and I do believe also that there's, you know, along with what you're saying, the value added by doing business with showrooms that really do wanna be the storytellers, if you will,
yeah,
that same consumer could possibly purchase something online that was either the same or close enough to it.
yep,
And so they often, if they find it and they see that we carry it, they prefer to buy it from us because we
absolutely.
gave it value,
Right,
as
right.
opposed to it's a thing, it has no value, it then becomes part of their disposable life, but yet they're spending thousands and thousands of
Thousands.
dollars where we value it.
Right.
Unfortunately, e-commerce devalues it, and it's the same product.
Yeah,
So it's kind of how do where do you wanna buy that special piece of jewelry? Where you buy it from is gonna be your takeaway. The experience you got is gonna be your takeaway, and
yeah,
that's our go-to market is that's how we have to approach everything, is we have to add value to
yeah.
everything because we value our clients.
Yeah, I mean, I think I'm a little fortunate being in the vanity business because, when you're buying vanities online, you're never really 100% sure what you're getting. There's a little bit more of a, um, unknown there in terms of materials and quality and all the rest of it, as opposed to, certain, I don't know, maybe faucets or things like that that are like completely comparable. Or at least you believe they're completely comparable. Maybe they are, maybe they're not. But I
But
know
are
in
they?
our sector, exactly right.
Are
I
they
mean,
really?
how do you know, right? I mean, we all know people who put out, well, there's the online product and then there's the showroom product, right? That's a real
And
thing.
even right, and even if listen, we know that there's been a lot of adjustments in the brick and mortars to
Yes.
make sure that we're aligned with the e-commerce. We don't have a choice. Either
Right.
you're aligned or, you're not gonna keep your footing,
Right.
in the volume of sales that
Absolutely.
you wanna have. But but we we believe that we make the experience just so much better.
Yeah.
And even, and unfortunately, when you're a consumer, even when you're a designer, you
Yeah.
don't necessarily put your project together and move forward with your chosen supplier based on, well, what happens after the sale?
Right.
You don't approach anything with what happens after. We don't buy clothing that way. We don't, maybe a vehicle, possibly just
Yep.
because the magnitude of the product,
Sure.
but we can claim, and I say we, Miller's is not just an anomaly. We within our industry that are made up of seasoned professionals, our aftermarket service has got to be better than our storytelling because
Right.
we've got to support all the warranties 2 and 3 and 4 years later. And it doesn't matter how many times we say this, Amazon's not taking it back.
Right.
2 and 3 and 4 years later, and these other platforms, which we won't go naming,
Yep.
they're not going to be able to brainstorm and service and
Right.
FaceTime and no, that's not what they're gonna do. So they're buying, their immediate gratification is coming on the deal. It's the
Right.
sale and it's the deal.
Yep.
But 2 years down the line, let's face it, the majority of our product is around water,
Yep.
could run water, has power, all of the elements,
Absolutely.
and now all of a sudden you have a problem and you don't have a resource.
Yep.
And so I do believe that there's a whole generation coming around the pike that doesn't even understand that there's a value behind that because they're a very disposable generation.
They are disposable. There's no
So
doubt about that.
right.
Yeah.
So it's our responsibility as we get eaten up, as we become, less and less because others are coming into the marketplaces that are voluminous in size, we sit there and say, you have to just believe us when we tell you, you will call us in a year or two
Right.
for something, especially when it's a whole house project.
Oh, yeah,
And
yeah.
we
No,
won't turn, I don't care
absolutely.
if you purchased it from us 20 years ago, I will help you.
Yeah, of
I
course.
just I just found some relics recently that, the manufacturer pulled out of our country 15 years ago, and their entire bathroom was suited with this brand,
Oh,
and
wow.
they needed one part, and they called Miller's and got me, and I said, "I got you. I can take care of you. I
Okay.
have the
Good for
resource,
you.
need the pictures." But you
Yeah,
know what? We've got to use what our secret sauces are because
absolutely.
we know that these other resources out there, their online resources or larger voluminous companies, their go-to market strategy is very different than independent decorative
Yeah.
plumbing showrooms. And I think it's really important for us to understand that we have such huge value and
Yep.
just continue to curate it.
I mean, you're a problem solver. I mean, at the end of
Yes.
the day, you're a problem solver. So,
Yes.
yeah, I mean, absolutely. Who are you gonna I can actually rhyme off, you know, customer after customer of ours that I look at them and I sort of say, "Why are they so successful?" And, it's simply because they know how to service people and they know how to solve people's problems. And
Right.
it could just be, the simplest of things from their perspective, but to the customer's perspective, it's like, well, this isn't working or that's not working. That is the value out of it. And I've seen so many showrooms be successful by being that and not making it about that first sale. It's actually about the second, third, and fourth.
Yeah, and I mean, we have to also, admittingly be aware that expectations, regardless of our opinions about them, expectations have changed. We're
Yeah.
consumers. I mean, you and I are
So how do you
consumers.
how would you put that out there? How do you see consumers' expectations have changed?
I think that due to the speed of internet deliveries, Amazon has made a huge shift in the standards of what is appropriate for time frame deliveries, what's
Yep.
appropriate around the world of returns. As a global movement, it has it has turned what is not standard into standard.
Yep.
And
That's fair.
so we're in an industry that is not the way in which we operate
Right.
in any means. And so you want to make sure that you're confident in your relationship. I mean, that's the
Yep.
first thing is you've got to earn their respect, and you've got to respect what their expectations might be, regardless of your opinion. And then you just have to explain
Manage it.
exactly, who we are, set the expectation to not be theirs unheard, set the expectation of your reality, and together you'll succeed. And make sure that they know that if you're doing a renovation, remodel, or home construction, there's going to be a road ahead of you. And we're not here to be judged on the journey. We're here to be viewed
Right.
and embraced at the end result.
Yeah. Yeah, yeah, I mean,
It's
that's
different.
very, very challenging, right? I mean,
It is.
whether it's just a small bathroom renovation or a whole house, I built the house that I'm in now 20 years ago, and yeah, I mean, when you're picking out every little thing,
Yeah.
that's a process,
Yeah.
and, you need somebody to help you and guide you through that because
Right.
you have no idea the amount of volume of decisions that have to be made.
It's interesting when you brought up building your own home because there's even part of that if you're a current home builder, if you're building your own home,
Yep.
let's just even talk about policies of returns. You're done with your project and you've got product on job site. It's maybe there 6, 7 months that you realize, I really don't have room for that.
Right.
And then the expectation is, but anyone can take it back
Right.
because that's what Amazon would do. And herein lies the myth. No, they wouldn't,
Right.
but there's an expectation. So I just think that for the
Yeah.
success
False
and
expectation though, right? I mean, it's a
yeah,
false
they're very
because
false, but
yeah,
you have to be very mindful of how that information gets delivered.
yeah, yeah, I would agree with that.
Yes, you
So,
have to be where we would say, and I've had manufacturers say that we are in a very I'm not saying the word challenging is in negative,
yep,
challenging as if it our who our customers are, our consumers, our designers make us better because we have to work that much harder,
yep.
and it does. Every time you can rise to the occasion, you become that much better, but we are a
Y
part of that expectation conversation every single day.
Yeah, it's definitely it has gotten harder. I mean, there is no doubt, right? And just in terms of the overall quality expectations, it's definitely, and it's obviously it's a good thing for everybody, but it does make it more challenging. I mean, it just does, right?
It does.
Especially with the workforce challenges that everybody has.
Yes.
That just makes it even more so. Um, and it's not like the manufacturers are out there making gobs of money. I mean, manufacturing is a very difficult business.
Yes.
So there's no kind of getting around that. I personally I enjoy running the business day to day. I love working with my team. They're great people. They're all learning and growing, and they got their AI goals for the quarter. We're very much a technology forward company, and I think the more that we can do that and let them use that technology to make them better, then that helps us be better for our customers.
Mhm.
That's really the goal at the end of the day. So back to your point around speed, we will deliver, uh, in general, we have like a 5-day turnaround for a semi-custom cabinet with a custom quartz top and so speed for me has always been the competitive advantage. Like that's what it is. Um, so if you can nail those back end processes down, then you can win. And quite frankly, that is what Amazon's done. I mean, Amazon, people don't think of them as a manufacturer, they're a manufacturer distributor. Like they've done an incredible job in their back end processes that has enabled them to get there. They didn't get there overnight. It's a
And they
20-year success
also
story.
I agree, but and they also clearly knew that their audience was the world. I
Yes.
think that there's a very big difference when you're in a market to make the decision on the in the foreground of thinking, who are we as a manufacturer? Who
Yep.
are we as an importer? Who is our audience? And do we align with our audience? Amazon created an audience, and their audience was the world. They were not limiting, so therefore,
Yep. I
what
agree.
did the world want? First and foremost, the world wants convenience. The world I want it
No,
when I
they
want
do.
it, where I want it, so the
Yep.
world wants convenience, and the world wants, variety, so
Yep.
they really had a great business model, which is it's not about what market are we looking to go into? We're looking to be global. We want to be able to go into every country, everywhere, and focus on every age group and every gender. So they really needed to find what is the human commonality of what people want. When you take that very big model and you bring it down to whether we're a showroom or a manufacturer, and then we say, who are our clients?
Right.
I'm going to say, as a showroom, leader, my client isn't the world,
No.
nor is my client, my client is very specific, and it's a big market, but they're specific. And I think manufacturers, depending on the size of them, some of them, as they have gotten consumed by larger conglomerates,
Yes.
they've gone from knowing who their market is to wanting their market to be Amazon's market. And I think when you're in an industry of luxury, you lose sight of what makes something luxurious. Well, what makes it luxurious first is going to be it's special.
Right.
It's different. It's there's a pride that comes from a consumer designer selecting that. Like,
Yeah,
there's
for
a lot
sure.
of feelings that come around the transactions in a showroom, and I think that, as the market changes, I think that the stories need to change, the showrooms need to know really who their clients are, and the
Yeah, I mean,
manufacturers need to know who their clients are.
absolutely. I mean, so back to the stories, and it's the stories. The stories are about the emotional aspect of it. I mean,
Mhm.
that's what it's all about, right? So if I was selling, say, on Amazon, I would lose. I think I'd lose part of my story,
Yeah, you
right?
would.
I mean,
And
it just would.
And herein lies the devaluation of your story. So when you become storyless, then you are no different than anyone else out there that builds a box.
Exactly. There
Yep.
you go. There you go. Um, and that was one of my biggest fears when I bought the business was that concept of commoditization. And I sort of kept that in my brain the whole time. And it's all around how do I build my ecosystem for my dealers every day, every quarter, every year to make it bigger and better, to serve you better, to remove more friction and add more value. And there's so many little ways of doing that. Um, it forces you to be creative, which is what I enjoy. And I know my team enjoys it, but that's what it's all about. If you were just pushing a product through some of these big box channels, then all you're doing is actually always just trying to drive cost out, and you don't kind of care about the story so much anymore. Like, it just gets devalued because you just it's the very rare brand that can have a global brand with a story.
Yes, I agree.
Very, very difficult.
I agree. I agree.
So,
Yep.
yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah. Well, there you go. So you just recently opened, change topics a little bit. You just recently opened a new showroom.
I did. Yeah.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
And
Thank you.
where are you located? The new
So
showroom?
we're located in Hollywood, Florida,
Okay.
which is where I actually grew up.
Oh, right.
So it's a real feel good to come back to Hollywood. And we did at some point have a showroom in the neighboring city of Dania Beach for a period of time, kind of around
Okay.
the corner.
Yep.
So it's been a wonderful, exciting time for the expansion of Miller's.
Yeah, wow.
Yeah.
And it's fully operational now?
It's fully operational. We had a soft opening back in September, but
Okay.
we opened with about 40% of our
Yeah.
showroom filled. So I ended up purchasing a load of mannequins, and I dressed them up, and I had, like, really funny signs around, like I'm holding space, kind of
Right.
just funny stories, and I put them around because I really wanted a distraction from the fact that this was a very large showroom with no merchandise in it. But
That's
we had our
okay.
grand opening a few weeks ago, and we couldn't be prouder. It's a
Awesome.
beautiful, beautiful showroom, so
Congratulations.
thank you.
That's a great,
Thank you.
it's great to see that your team is still growing and wanna
Yeah,
just, just continue to be successful and everything, right?
thank
So,
you. Miller's has had a lot of lives, so
yeah,
I think this was coming.
yeah,
We've had 1
gotcha.
showroom and then 2 and then 1 and then 2 and different locations, and it just felt like we were ready to
Yeah,
now go back to an expansion, and now we cover what's considered in Southeast Florida as the Tri-County area.
right,
So
right.
it's a nice, large demographic.
We were talking before about how, the area that you moved into there has really had a bit of a, kinda resurgence over the last, what, 5 years, 6 years?
A little bit more,
A
yeah.
little
We're
more? Okay.
we're located, just south of a building that's called the Dakota, the
Yep.
Design Center of the Americas, and at some point back in its heyday, the Dakota, that was the design center,
Right.
and over a period of time, the Dakota changed ownership, and many, many high-end showrooms made the decision to leave, and they
Gotcha.
just came 1 block south.
Oh, it's literally
So
1 block south. Well, I
yeah,
can't wait to get down there.
it's a major block, but it's 1 block,
Yeah.
and so we're known as the South Florida Design Park. We
Okay.
are a collaboration of approximately 23 showrooms, and a lot of them are international brands, and, I'm in the Hollywood Design Center, which is a building, and
Okay.
then across the street from us, we have several other very well-known showrooms, and so with Miller's coming in, I everybody had known each other. Everybody had been
Oh,
part of
really?
almost the
Nice.
same journey because they were all from the Dakota,
Ah,
and I came with just a different perspective of business because we've always operated as a destination location, and we've
right.
always been a busy showroom. So moving into a trade design park, I felt that it was time to just put a little bit of different energy in it, and we already had our first meeting in our showroom yesterday, collaborating with all 23 showrooms to say,
Oh,
"Hey,
wow. That's
let's
great.
let's figure out."
A little
you
more of
know
a community.
Yeah, and it's interesting because when you're the new kid on the block, you don't wanna rock the boat, but I I live in community. I've never felt I that professionally myself or the organization can grow independent of anybody else. I've always relied on alliances,
Okay.
and that's what's kept us in business for over 50 years, and it
Yep.
will continue to. So we're
So
excited to be here.
do you see a difference between, like, on the foot traffic side between
Yes.
the 2 different.
Yeah. Yeah, and I've
Okay.
got 2 different showrooms that are very different. My Boca Raton showroom is very heavily foot trafficked,
Okay.
and this location is not yet, but
Yet.
it will be.
I would almost think it would flip the other way at some point
Now,
just because
I
of.
believe, yeah, it's just a matter of time.
Okay.
Um, if I was around the corner and heavily foot trafficked and often had people waiting to be helped, it will happen again here.
Yeah.
It's just gonna take just a little bit of, creating a plan for 2026, which we've got. We definitely have things in place
Yeah.
to start that cheering. And
Okay.
again, collaborations are everything. So I'm very grateful to be amongst big names, smaller boutique names, but
Sure.
very well respected names in the Florida marketplace.
Is it a different design market between the 2, like, in terms of groups of designers?
So I'm gonna tell you that there's huge distinctions
Okay.
between counties,
Oh,
and
wow.
even within the south and north part of the county. So
Okay.
we've got the Dade County, which is Miami, as people
Yep.
would know that to be, very minimalistic, very contemporary, very European,
Yep.
feel to it. You have Broward County, which is really a melting pot of so many different backgrounds, so you really you can't plan for what exactly does that look like. So that's when you have to start
Yeah.
having some great mixes.
Yeah.
And Boca Raton is located in the southern part of Palm Beach County.
Right.
If you're in Boca, you're very influenced by people from the Northeast who might have one perspective of what design looks like to them. If you go to the northern part of Palm Beach, which is Palm Beach,
Yep.
you have a huge Midwestern influence
Oh, wow.
there and very different. So
That's very
it
different.
goes back
Yeah,
to you need to know your market because when you're designing a showroom, you need to make sure that that showroom speaks to the market, not
of
to the owner.
course. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. Wow. That's pretty diverse.
Yeah, it is. It I have
More
some
challenges.
I have some product that definitely just needs to overlap,
Yeah, of
but
course.
there's a couple of things that I show down here that I will not show in Boca and vice versa.
Yeah, yeah. No, that makes sense.
Yeah.
Well, you've been through a lot of years, a lot of, trials and
Lord.
tribulations, right?
Yes. Yes.
Um, so one last question for you. So if you were I can imagine it's very difficult to, I think anyways, about getting young people into the industry.
Mhm.
We were talking earlier just about how difficult it is to, or the length of time it takes for people to learn. And I've even thought about that just from the onboarding perspective into a showroom position. It's got to be incredibly challenging. Um, so, what would be your some advice for people that are interested in it? I imagine there'd be almost a lot of design orientated people that kind of gravitate towards it. Um,
So, I think that the first thing that I would say to anybody that was young,
yeah,
and we can define young, it's a relative term, but somebody
it
that was
is.
in, like, the 1st or 2nd decade of their actual career times,
Yep.
I would let them know that this is an industry that is so creative that there's never 2 days that are the same. There's never 2 clients that are the same. You get excited when there's tons of new product that's constantly coming out on the marketplace.
Right.
So you're never stuck in this box of this is what I do and this is how I do it. So I think
Yeah.
that that's the first thing. The second thing is when you talk about where I came from, and how it was such a smaller industry and now it's gotten so large.
Yep.
The opportunities for a young adult to be able to bring their knowledge of learning AI into the industry, ramping up at the speed of light that they can do that, they will be able to do so much more
Right.
with the growth that is happening. I mean, this is an industry that doesn't stop. It doesn't sleep. It's constantly there's new product on the market, there's new colors on the market, there's new reasons why people want things, and I just think that if you have that vision of, gosh, I can sell anything. I
Right.
could I could put, a bathroom and you might look at it as, "Oh, it's just a bathroom." It isn't just a bathroom. It's the place that you start and end your entire day, and you
Exactly.
can create this into anything you want it to be, and now all of a sudden you've got a generation of people going, "Wow, that would kind of be fun." It would be, what do you mean you can have things that turn on your watch? What do you
Right.
mean we can set it the night before and it's gonna, wake you up and yet your shower is on and it's warmed up and your steam is filling. There's so much more movement into technology
So much.
and variety that I would think that this is like a candy store to a young adult.
Right.
Just
That's a good point,
come
right? I
in and be
mean,
creative and have fun.
absolutely. We always talk about one of our internal things here is just about how do you elevate the experience?
Mhm.
And so it's exactly that, right? So if you get somebody that is creative and enjoys that process, well, they can be a kid in a candy store, especially now. There is, and it's going to. I do believe it's going to significantly increase in the pace of change
Yes.
within whether it's from a material science, which then impacts all the different materials that are out there, 3D printing, there's
All of it.
definitely a lot coming down the pipe, and it is easier than it would have been, say, 10 years ago,
Yes.
because of AI. You can get a lot more. Like we've actually started doing a bunch of work on product design inside of ChatGPT.
Which is
So
great, which
you know,
is
we
terrific.
trained it on cabinet design. Like we've actually trained it.
And I
So,
also wanna say that the growth of the Decorative Plumbing and Hardware Association has been so instrumental with attracting new talent
yes.
that it's I mean, it's being ran by 2 amazing women that have their pulse on our industry, and so
Yep.
it's no longer just a group of, a myriad of showrooms as well as representatives, as well as manufacturers. They make sure that the interior design community is part of it.
Yeah.
They make sure that people that are exploring how to use AI in interior design are instrumental in giving us that knowledge. Like, I just think that there's so much support out there that, again, I think this is an industry that's just going to continue to take on its own life, and it's going to require young adults to see the value and run with it.
Yep. Well, there you go.
There
I
you
think
go.
I think you're right, and I think that you're a great leader to help
Thank
in the way that you can with all these young people, right? I mean, they need people like you.
Thank
So
you. Thank
you're
you. I've
welcome.
been very, very, very fortunate in my career to have been able to be young in it, though I'm young in spirit, but to be young in it,
Yeah.
to have brought so many people into it.
Right.
I've got tentacles of Millers all over the country that are
Well, that I
still
found out.
deeply rooted, and it's great.
Yeah.
It's been such a ride, and I would have never wanted to be any other
Right.
place but the decorative plumbing and hardware industry.
Well, you've built your legacy, and you should be very proud of that. So
Thank you. I
yeah,
am.
there
I
you
am.
go. Well,
Yeah.
thanks, Debbie. I can't wait to come down to your showrooms,
Thank
which
you,
I will
Paul.
be probably after the New Year's for sure. But
I was gonna say you definitely need to get out of Canada in February, right?
well, yeah, that I do. So
Well, come down. We welcome you with open arms, and
thank
we'll
you.
warm you up,
I
okay?
appreciate it. Okay.
Absolutely. Thank you for having
Thanks,
me.
Debbie.
Thank you. Take
Talk to
care.
you soon.
All right.
Bye.
Bye-bye.